A young anchor from the 21st century, traveling through the late Eastern Han Dynasty with a live broadcast room, unexpectedly became a Zang Ba who killed officials and rebelled. Through numerous coincidences, Zang Ba relied on the powerful auxiliary functions of the live broadcast room. Collect beauties, generals, and strategists. Fight against Huang Zhan, fight against Dong Zhuo, defeat Bu, pacify Yuan Shao, stubbornly resist Cao Cao and Liu Bei, and ultimately dominate the Han Dynasty. This is an fictional world of the Three Kingdoms, mostly based on historical facts, mixed with romance, games, and some bizarre legends. Chapter 1. Opening the Live Room. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Your Highness, do not bend the law for personal gain or kill innocent people in vain. This will damage your reputation. A strong middle-aged man in the hall knelt on the ground and said to the person standing at the top. Zhang Jie, you are just a district and county prison official. You have the courage to disobey my orders. I want to kill someone, but I can't help but ask you around. For the last time, will you kill this person? The prefect said to Zhang Jie with a grim expression. Your Highness, please think twice. If your Highness insists on killing someone, then kill me first. Zhang Jie faced the Highness, choking his neck without fear. Okay, Zhang Jie. If you want to die, I'll do it for you. I want to see if your head is hard or my knife is hard. Someone, take them to the prefect's mansion, the prefect said angrily. The trusted aides brought by the governor rushed forward and tied Zhang Jie tightly. The angry governor did not notice that there was an inconspicuous prison guard in the hall and quietly retreated. In the spacious courtyard, there is a distinct angular appearance with full cheekbones, a young man with a tall and powerful figure, full of tendons and flesh, exuding a strong aura everywhere, stared blankly at his own disciples practicing martial arts. He was originally a young anchor from the 21st century. As a newcomer to the industry, he had no fame or fans, so he had to watch whatever was popular and follow the live stream, relying on some traffic to make a living. During the 2024 Spring Festival, while broadcasting content related to the Spring Festival, he unexpectedly soul-pierced into the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty. Accompanying him came an unknown yet powerful live streaming room. This live broadcast room does not use any visible live broadcast equipment, but can deliver live content to the audience. This live broadcast room can also post tasks, distribute rewards, and improve his abilities. The number of followers and rewards in the live broadcast room can also enhance his various abilities. With a bewildered expression on his face, he looked at his own body and a line of information appeared in front of him. Zang Ba, courtesy name. Xian Gao Force. 91. For soul-piercing individuals, their force value can be increased based on their original body. Intelligence. Soul-piercing person, intelligence value follows oneself, cannot be digitized. Politics. Soul-piercing individuals, political values follow themselves, unable to be digitized. Charm. 88. For soul-piercing individuals, their charm value can be increased based on their original body. Lifespan. 67. If you don't die, you won't die, it can be increased. Friendliness. As someone who loves oneself, what kind of friendliness do you need? Skill. Detective, initial skill gifted in the live broadcast room, which can detect basic information of characters. As a person who has been wandering around various novel platforms all year round, he is familiar with things like time travel. He quickly adapted to the current situation and it is unlikely for him to return to modern times. His body may have been burned to ashes at the crematorium by this time. He is now Zang Ba. Ding. The live broadcast room is open, please enter the live broadcast status immediately. What? I haven't figured out what the current situation is, so I'm going to live stream. Zang Ba grumbled in his heart. I don't know from what perspective I took a photo of myself, is it handsome or not? Ah Ba, is this the time to think about it now? What should I say about this live broadcast? I can't say I traveled to the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty, can I? If you dare to say it yourself, someone must believe it. Family members, old ties. This time I joined a crew to remake the story of the Three Kingdoms. The opening time was set in the first 2 years of the Yellow Scarf Uprising, and the place was in Huaxian County, Mount Taishan County, which is near the modern Feixian County, Shandong Province. I played a less famous character with the surname of Zang, the name of Bully, the name of Xiangao, and the opening age of 18 years. Zang Ba arrogantly said to the empty live broadcast room. Zang Ba found that the functions of this live broadcast room are indeed quite powerful. If you want to say something in the live broadcast room, as long as you silently recite it, you can convert your thoughts into your own voice and send them to the live broadcast room, which avoids the embarrassment of sudden nonsense when there are many people. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully opening the live broadcast room and receiving the beginner's gift package. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the enhanced version of the Genshin Bright Silver Gun *1, a regular steel spear made with craftsmanship and materials spanning 2,000 years, which is like a divine artifact in this era. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining 10 boxes of a certain windmill paper, save some energy and use it for a year, take endless care of your butt. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining 10 boxes of Mohua toothpaste, how to use it, don't teach me, right? Ding! Reward items can be stored directly in the live broadcast room space, allowing for mental access to items. The space capacity is unlimited, and only live broadcast room prizes can be stored. The Longdan Bright Silver Gun is very high-end at first glance, and it is an enhanced version. Zang Ba didn't care about shocking the world and the world. With a sudden thought, he held a long spear that was about 2 meters long and weighed over 40 pounds, shining with cold light. Zang Ba shook the shiny silver spear with gentian and casually shook out a few firecrackers. Smooth. There is no lag at all, using a gun is as convenient as using your hands. This satisfies Zang Ba very much. The most crucial thing is to use this gun, which directly increases Zang Ba's strength by 10 points, breaking through the 100-point mark. As for the roll of paper and toothpaste, Zang Ba was speechless. This live broadcast room cannot be a supermarket selling live broadcast room, can it? Can't sell the goods anymore, come and bundle them for sale. It's amazing, forget it, you can't be too greedy. You got a divine artifact and 2 additional heads. What's wrong with that? They can still be used, make do with it. With a change of mindset, Zang Ba's mood suddenly improved. Zang Ba sorted his thoughts and walked towards his disciples to practice with them. Xian Gao, big things are not good, big things are not good. The prison guard named Wang Qi ran to Zang Ba's house panting heavily, shouting loudly. Zang Ba saw the prison guard who had befriended his father run in out of breath and quickly welcomed him, asking, "Uncle Qi, what happened?" "Xiangao, today the prefect came to the county and wanted to execute a prisoner for personal gain. Your father felt that the prisoner was unjustly accused and did not execute the prefect's orders. He also urged the prefect to dispel his thoughts. In a fit of anger, the prefect tied up your father and said he wanted to take him and the prisoner to the prefect's mansion together. This matter is already causing a stir in the county government. It's not easy for the governor to take action in our county, but if he wants to leave the territory of Huaxian, it will be more or less unlucky. Xiangao, quickly find a way to rescue your father." Wang Qi didn't even bother to catch his breath and blurted out the matter. Zang Ba's face froze. Is the beginning so difficult? Saving people. How to save, find someone to help. Ding. Release task. Use force to rescue Father Zongjie. Reward. Random, punishment. Death. Damn it. Seeing the task in the live broadcast room, Zang Ba's heart burst out in a foul voice. In this chaotic world, it is indeed necessary to rely on fists. It is simple and rough, and he actually uses his previous thinking. Chapter 2. Saving Father and Killing the Prefect. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Zang Ba said to Wang Qi. How unreasonable. As a prefect, I have indiscriminately killed innocent people. Do you still have the law in your eyes? Thank you, Uncle Seven, for risking his life to tell me. Zang Ba turned around and bowed to the guests in the courtyard, saying, Dear uncles and brothers, my father is in trouble today and I am going to save him. Please help me. The followers of the Zang family are like private soldiers, usually raised by the Zang family. As the saying goes, after raising soldiers for 1,000 days, more than 10 disciples in the courtyard immediately expressed their willingness to follow Zang Ba to save Zang Jie. Robbing prisoners is undoubtedly equivalent to rebellion, and the Zang family will be pushed to the forefront of the storm as a result. Zang Ba is well aware that even if the robbery is successful, Zhang's family will have a hard time in Huaxian County, even in Mount Taishan County. As for the failure, as the live broadcast room said, it's just a death. Zang Ba hurriedly walked into the inner house and saw his mother, Sun Shi. Zang Ba stepped forward and bowed to the ground. She said to Sun, Mother, our Zang family is going to suffer this time. Zang Ba quickly recounted the story and expressed his thoughts on escaping from Huaxian. Sun Shi tearfully said to Zang Ba, My son, go. Wherever you go, my mother will follow you. Zang Ba was anxious in his heart and rushed towards the county government with a dozen or so agile disciples. And Sun was also busy at home, quickly directing the servants to pack up necessary items. Both sides agreed to meet outside the city of Huaxian. When Zang Ba arrived at the county government office, he found that the buildings were empty. The prefect had already taken a step forward with his men, escorting Zang Jie and the prisoners out of Huaxian city. Zang Ba gritted his teeth in hatred, stomped his feet, and angrily cursed, This dog official, he runs quite fast. Immediately, he led his followers to chase after him. Finally, as they chased towards the foot of Shishan, they saw a group of people and horses ahead. The team of about 100 people is slowly moving forward. Zang Ba has excellent eyesight and can see Zang Jie locked in a prisoner's carriage in the team at a glance. He immediately quickened his pace and chased after the group of people with his disciples. The governor also saw the dozen or so people chasing after him and didn't pay much attention. He just turned his horse around and let his confidants block behind. What kind of person is here? The prefect shouted in a self-proclaimed majestic tone to Zang Ba and others. Prefect Force. 69 Intelligence. 65 Politics. 72 Charm. 64 Friendliness. 0 Zang Ba's eyes widened with anger, and he glanced at the governor's ability level, feeling relieved. Roar at the prefect. Dog official, release my father quickly. The governor looked at Zang Ba, who had been printed in the same mold as Zang Jie, and instantly understood his identity. He said to Zang Ba. Your father got into a conflict with the government and was arrested. It's a deserved crime. Why are you bringing people here? Do you want to rob prisoners? Do you think with just a few of you, you can beat hundreds of me? I won't argue with you because you are young and immature. Get out of here quickly. Father was right in front of him, how could Zang Ba possibly retreat and scold the prefect again? Dog official, my father is enforcing the law impartially. What's wrong? It's you, dog official, who is bending the law for personal gain. What reason do you have to arrest my father? Let him go quickly. The prefect was cursed by Zang Ba with one mouthful of dog officials and was furious, waving his hand. Come on, take down this group of villains for me, he said directly to Zang Ba. A group of trusted aides brought by the governor drew out weapons and approached in a fierce manner, preparing to take Zang Ba and his followers down on the spot. There are still dozens of conscripts hesitating whether to keep up. They stood there, some looking at each other, some bowing their heads in contemplation. I didn't take immediate action, just stood on the side and watched. The disciples of the Zang family erupted with astonishing fighting spirit in an instant. They bravely counterattacked and fought alongside the trusted aides of the governor. Zang Ba held the silver spear of the dragon bile reward in the live broadcast room, like a silver lightning bolt, galloping freely on the battlefield. Under the cover of his disciples, he thrust left and right, flipping through two confidants one after another. With one swift step, he rushed towards the governor and shot him on the shoulder. This blow was as powerful as a bamboo, and the prefect let out a scream, leaning backwards. The governor was originally from a military background, although his military strength was several levels lower than Zang Ba's. But it shouldn't be so embarrassing, without any defensive strength. But Zang Ba's movements were as swift as the wind, as if he were a ghost, and in an instant, he knocked over two people. When Zang Ba rushed towards the governor like a fierce tiger, the governor didn't react at all and was shot. Under the pain of eating, the governor fell off his horse and became a vegetarian. The prefect slowly regained his senses and saw Zang Bajing holding up the bright silver spear of gentian, with fresh blood dripping from the tip of the spear. No way. This is Zhang Jie's voice. Don't. This is the voice of the governor. Before he could finish speaking, Zang Ba's spear flashed past. For a moment, blood gushed out like a red waterfall. The round and rolling head rolled and fell to the side as the long spear passed by. The eyes on my head were still wide open, filled with fear and disbelief. A person with such a dark heart, even blood is red. Ba. Zang Ba spat out a mouthful of saliva and licked his lips. There was a dead silence all around, and all the voices seemed to freeze at this moment. The people on the battlefield all stopped, their gaze focused on Zang Ba, with both awe and fear in their eyes. They stared blankly at Zang Ba, at the headless corpse under his feet, and at the blood still gushing out. At this moment, someone entered the live broadcast room. Although there were only a dozen or so people watching the live broadcast, the barrage was rolling and it was quite lively. Sleeping slot, what did I see? It's so explosive, isn't it true? My head has been chopped off. What are you thinking? If it could really be broadcasted. Didn't you see the message from the anchor? This is the crew acting. This is too real. I almost missed a beat in my heart just now. I've never seen such an exciting scene before. No, I need to keep an eye on this live broadcast room. Yes, I'll also pay attention to it. Don't you think this anchor is very handsome? Your observation angle is quite peculiar, hahaha. What's going on here? Isn't watching a live broadcast just about watching a handsome guy and a beautiful woman? This anchor portrays that decisive spirit to the fullest, loving and loving. The governor is dead. This is really a rebellion of killing officials. Although the court has been chaotic in recent years, with eunuchs taking turns in power and the court's infighting leading to the deaths of many court officials. But this prefect died in the administrative area, and it is an example of being killed by the disorderly people under the rule, but it is rare. Zang Ba's shot made everyone's brains buzzing. The prefect has been killed, so there is no need to keep his confidence. Zang Ba became arrogant and continued to assassinate. After the death of the prefect, his confidants were leaderless, with no fighting spirit, and their combat effectiveness was downgraded several levels. Not long after, the confidants of the governor were slaughtered by Zang Ba and his followers like chopping melons and vegetables. As for the conscripts, they had long been frightened by Zang Ba's bravery. Some sat on the ground with 2 legs paralyzed in battle, while others trembled and wanted to scatter for their lives, but they couldn't even move their legs. Zang Ba saw the servant wanting to run and shouted loudly, "Whoever dares to run, whoever dies." The servant heard Zang Ba's roar and immediately stopped in place, afraid to move. They all know that if dozens of people scatter and run at the same time, not all of Zang Ba's dozen or so people can catch up with them. But none of them dared to run. If they were to be targeted, they would die first. Who dares to take such a risk? Zang Ba climbed onto the prisoner's carriage with Zhang Jie locked, broke open the large lock on the carriage and released Zhang Jie. Ding! Congratulations on completing the task. Use force to rescue Father Zhang Jie. Obtain 10 bags of high-quality sweet potatoes. Chapter 3. Escape. You are listening at novel full.audio. Zang Ba stood on the prisoner's carriage and shouted from a high position to the soldiers. Everyone witnessed today's incident with their own eyes. The cause was that the dog official avenged himself for personal gain, twisted the law for personal gain, and wanted to kill someone. My father followed the law and spoke with righteousness, but was framed and arrested by the dog official. Although I am a rough person, I know that our country has always been governed by filial piety. If I let the dog officials take my father away, it would be my unfilial behavior. The dog official disregards the royal law and acts recklessly, which damages the face of the court. If I allow the dog official to act recklessly without stopping it, it is my disloyalty. Innocent people are being framed and will be killed in vain. If I haven't seen them, then it's okay. Now that I have seen them, if I remain indifferent, then I am not righteous and have no courage. A big man born between heaven and earth, how can he be that disloyal, unfilial, unjust, and cowardly person? Upon hearing Zang Ba's impassioned words, the disciples all showed admiration on their faces. The soldier's face also became unnatural. Zang Ba changed his tone and continued. I see that you are just following orders, not being loyal to the dog officials. Some of you are still my father's colleagues, and we get along well on weekdays. So I won't make things difficult for you. I want to borrow your words here to let the world know that this dog official was killed by me, Zang Ba, and has nothing to do with others. Please do not implicate anyone else. In the future, if the court finds out the truth, they will return us with justice. Starting from today, I will take my family and flee to the ends of the earth. See you all in the future. You all go. Letting go of the enslaved soldiers was not because Zang Ba's kindness was rampant, but because he felt that even if these people were all killed, it would be of no use. Whether to kill or not, the government will quickly uncover the truth. The most crucial thing is that Zang Ba used his probing skills to see how many of those soldiers had a certain liking for him. It's better to keep those conscripts and promote themselves, so as not to be labeled as a poop and unable to speak clearly when the time comes. The enslaved soldiers, like those granted amnesty, scattered and fled for their lives one by one, without even considering horses, prison carts, and weapons and equipment on the ground. Zhang Jie looked at the scene before him, shook his head, and sighed. Although Zhang Jie was just a prison official in a county, he was just a subordinate of the prison Chao, in charge of the criminal prison in a county. Looking at the entire Han Dynasty, he was just a big official. But in this 1 acre and 3/10 of land in Huasyan, Zhang Jie can also be considered a prominent figure. In the blink of an eye, he transformed from an official to a fugitive, which is a bit hard to accept. But now, there is no other way. As Zang Ba said, should we make him a disloyal, unfilial, unjust, and cowardly person? Life and death are destined, wealth and fortune are in heaven. Forget it. The person from another prisoner's carriage was also released, and he came to Zang Ba and Zhang Jie, kneeling down with a plop. I am Wu Dun, thanks to the two of you who sacrificed your lives to save me this time. I have no way to repay you, only to show respect to the 2 horses' heads, but with some motivation. I am willing to work hard. After Wu Dun finished speaking, he solemnly kowtowed a few heads, and Zang Ba quickly pulled him up. Say to him. Wu Zhuangshi doesn't need to be polite. If you don't mind, we can move forward and retreat together in the future. Wu Dun Force. 80 Intelligence. 68 Politics. 66 Charm. 63 Friendly Rating. 100 Zang Ba and his followers searched for the belongings on the body, leading horses and weapons and equipment to rush back. Fortunately, the news of the governor's murder has not yet spread, or rather the government has not yet reacted, and no one has intercepted them. Zang Ba successfully picked up his mother and servant at the city gate and fled towards Donghai County, which was close to Hua County. The fleeing Zang Ba family was completely unaware that Zang Ba's actions had elevated his reputation to a new level. Zang Ba's reputation of filial piety and bravery spread all over Mount Taishan County in a short time. Seeing that he was about to leave Mount Taishan County, Zang Ba was relieved, but he could not relax the tight string until he reached a safe place. Zang Ba and his entourage rushed all the way, far away from Mount Taishan County, and plunged into an unknown mountain in Donghai County. It's finally safe. It seems that we can only settle in this mountain in the future, Zang Ba sighed silently in his heart. For refugees, Zang Ba still has experience. Haven't he seen in later TV dramas that when the devils come, the villagers will go into the mountains? Are the devils more advanced than those in the late Eastern Han Dynasty? But still at a loss for these towering mountains, let alone the people of this era. On the way here, Zang Ba observed that this mountain is far from the city, with a hidden terrain that is not easy to be discovered. The terrain in the mountains is complex, and the large army cannot deploy it. If we establish a camp in this mountain, it will be easy to defend but difficult to attack. The most important thing is that there are several inconspicuous small villages near this mountain. If you settle in this mountain, you can exchange some mountain goods with the villagers to avoid starving. It's easy to say, but difficult to do. Zang Ba and his family stopped by the mountain road and started discussing. The big boss, a group of people came to the foot of the mountain, pulling several large carts. It looked like a fat sheep with only a dozen or so guards, and the rest were old, weak, women, and children. A small servant hurriedly ran to the bandit leader in the mountain camp and said. The bandit leader's eyes lit up. There were over 200 bandits among them, and there were also dozens of them who could fight. Usually, they would just play the autumn breeze around this big mountain. This is the first time in recent years that such a large-scale convoy has been encountered. Who has nothing to do but run into the mountains. This must be an escape, and they came here in a panic. If we could rob this convoy, we wouldn't have to worry about food and drink for a long time. Are you sure they only have a dozen or so guards? The bandit leader asked. The head of the household, I really see it, there are only a dozen or so guards, just like ordinary servants, and the leader is someone with a long spear, the little servant replied with great certainty. Those who hold long spears are not easy to deal with, said the bandit leader to himself. However, there must be a lot of wealth in the team of several cars, and the greedy nature made the bandit leader automatically ignore the existence of risks. Damn it! You go gather everyone, and with this vote, everyone will have delicious food and drink, commanded the bandit leader. Yes. The little servant turned around and ran out. Xian Gao, in my opinion, it's better for us to find a nearby village to settle down than to come to this barren mountain range, Zhang Jie said. Father, it's good to be in the village, but with so many outsiders pouring into other people's villages, it's inevitable to raise suspicion. Moreover, we are now refugees. If the government finds out, it will be troublesome, Zang Ba pondered for a moment. Ding. Posting task. Resist the attack of bandits and seize the mountain fortress. Reward. Random. Punishment. Death. Come again. This live broadcast room often uses death as punishment, which makes Zang Ba tremble with fear. However, using this task as a warning is quite good. Chapter 4. Resisting Mountain Thieves. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Father and mother, there is a bandit coming. Get on the carriage and hide. Be careful, everyone. There is a bandit coming. Take weapons and form in formation. Zang Ba made arrangements at the first time. Zhang Jie and Zhang Mu immediately hid in the carriage, while other lackluster maids and servants also hid next to the carriage. The gatekeepers drew out their weapons one after another, forming groups in groups of 3 or 2, blocking the convoy. The movements of the crowd were orderly and without any panic, indicating that the Zang family was well trained. Not long after, faint figures appeared on the mountain path, rushing towards the Zang family's convoy across the mountains and fields. It's a bit exaggerated to say it's all over the mountains and fields, but more than 200 people spread out on the mountain path, and the formation is also astonishing. I didn't expect there to be quite a few bandits here, Zang Ba said. Young master, don't panic. These people are just some homeless people who haven't had enough to eat. The only ones who can fight are those who wear leather armor. But in my opinion, none of them are my opponents. As long as we get rid of those leaders, these people won't be afraid anymore. Wu Dun said to Zang Ba. After Wu Dun was rescued, he always regarded himself as a servant of the Zang family and devoted himself wholeheartedly to the front and back of Zang Ba's saddle. Wu Dun is quite discerning, and at a glance, he can tell the general idea. Zang Ba secretly praised in his heart. Zang Ba has already used the detective skill to scan, and among the more than 200 mountain bandits, those who are dressed in rags and thin like skin and bones generally have a force value of no more than 50 points. There are several big men wearing leather armor, whose strength value exceeds 60 points, but the highest is only 72 points, clearly not a match for Wu Dun. Zang Ba estimated that this group of mountain bandits were just a few deserters, gathering some refugees who couldn't survive and robbing homes in the mountains. In these days, weapons are not even complete. With a hoe and a wooden stick, one can become a mountain bandit. In thought, the mountain bandits surrounded the Zang family and his group in groups. The bandit leader was surrounded by minions and stood in the crowd, attempting to intimidate the Zang family, shouting loudly. On the other side, leave behind the wealth and let you have a way out. Zang Ba looked calmly at the leader of the mountain bandits hiding in the crowd. He said, "We have just arrived in your precious land and don't want to cause trouble. You should quickly retreat to avoid damaging our harmony." The leader of the mountain bandits wanted to scare the Zang family away and achieve something for nothing, but Zang Ba was also trying to persuade the mountain bandits to retreat. Although the members of the Zang family are all highly skilled in martial arts, and the combat power of more than a dozen people cannot be underestimated, there are still over 200 mountain bandits. If there is a hard front bumper, it is inevitable that there will be damage, which is not cost-effective. It is best not to hit it. The leader of the bandits, Jia, smiled and said, "Hey, young man, even if you haven't grown enough hair yet, your tone is quite loud. When you come to my territory, even if you're a dragon, you'll have to hold it. Stop talking nonsense, let's just stand here. If you want wealth, come and get it yourself if you have talent. What kind of thing is hiding behind it?" Wu Dun cursed loudly at the leader of the mountain bandits. The leader of the mountain bandits is hiding in the crowd, and indeed has the idea of letting the minions charge in front and picking up bargains from behind. Being scolded by Wu Dun, I couldn't hold back my face and became angry with embarrassment. With a wave of my hand, I shouted, "Brothers, come on, kill all those men, and bring the women and wealth back to the stronghold to be divided." More than 200 bandits rushed towards the Zang family under the instigation of the bandit leader. Wu Dun led the Zang family members waving weapons to welcome them, and both sides engaged in a fierce battle. A series of fighting and shouting echoed on the mountain path. At this moment, the achievements of the Zang family's regular training were revealed, and in the blink of an eye, several mountain bandits were knocked over. Although the bandit's voice was grand, it was blocked at this moment and could not move forward. "Okay, kill these mountain bandits," someone shouted. The servants of the Zang family hiding behind the carriage boldly poked their heads out and looked around the battlefield, occasionally shouting to cheer on their own people on the field. Seeing his subordinates constantly falling, but the other party was unharmed, the leader of the mountain bandits now found it difficult to dismount. He didn't expect the dozen or so people across from him to be so difficult to deal with. Not only were they highly skilled in martial arts, but they all held standard weapons. It's obvious that they are elite soldiers in the military, and they don't know how they started doing the job of guarding homes and courtyards. And those few carriages now looked a bit eye-catching, obviously not something that ordinary people can have. Looking at Wu Dun, who broke into the group of mountain bandits, he was like a god of war, rushing left and right, and no one could defeat him. I saw the young man with a gun on the other side, who was already riding a horse at some point, staring coldly at me. This person's gaze is like a killing god. The bandit leader was shocked in his heart, like a thorn in his back, and suddenly felt a sense of retreat. Just as the leader of the bandits was lost in thought, a loud noise rang out beside him. Bang! After a burst of air-breaking sound, a bandit leader dressed in leather armor was hit by a huge spear, and the tremendous force on the spear carried the bandit leader several zhang away. Immediately after, he nailed the bandit leader to the ground, his gun barrel trembling and making a buzzing sound. The bandit leader spat blood foam in his mouth, rolled his eyes a few times, and his legs and feet twitched for a while before dying. This is Zang Ba's move. Since he wants to fight, he won't be too soft. Seizing the opportunity, he threw the dragon gallbladder silver spear as a javelin and directly nailed down a bandit leader. Unfortunately, the leader of the bandits hid tightly, and Zang Ba couldn't find a chance to attack him. The bandit leader was first startled, then ecstatic. Is the person across from him a fool who even threw weapons? He shouted loudly, "Brothers, don't be afraid. They don't have weapons anymore. Let's all go and chop them down in one go. Hurry up." The bandit in the rear couldn't see clearly if the other party had weapons. When the bandit leader shouted, he believed it and rushed up without warning. Drive! Zang Ba, with his legs sandwiched, rode his horse and rushed towards the leader of the mountain bandits, ignoring the others. Quick, stop him. The bandit leader has also been to the battlefield and witnessed the power of cavalry. He knew that at this moment, Zang Ba would dare to charge over with a single horse, so he must have everything to rely on. Quickly directing his subordinates to stop Zang Ba, he quietly retreated backwards. Zang Ba shook his right hand, and the bright silver spear nailed to the bandit leader's body disappeared instantly. It immediately appeared in Zang Ba's hand. This is Zang Ba using the function of storing items with his mind in the live broadcast room, and he threw out the Longdan bright silver gun. Then, with his mind, he retrieved the space in the live broadcast room, and with his mind, he took the gentian silver spear from his hand. The entire process was completed in an instant, which was very convenient. With a bright silver spear in hand, Zang Ba's momentum did not diminish. The long spear swept across, and the bandit minions blocking him fell to the ground like cut wheat. Chapter 5. Occupy the Shanzhai. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In an instant, Zang Ba came to the leader of the mountain bandits. A cold light flashed by, and before the bandit leader could resist, a blood hole appeared on his chest. The bandit leader lowered his head and stared blankly at the blood hole in his chest, muttering to himself, "Didn't his gun be thrown out?" Then he fell to the ground with a thud, unable to close his eyes. Zang Ba lifted the body of the bandit leader into mid-air. Shouting to a group of frightened mountain bandits, "Your leader has died. Put down your weapons, and do not kill those who surrender." This group of bandits was originally a mob, and the bandit leader was stabbed to death. Except for some stubborn opponents who were knocked down by Wu Dun and his disciples. The rest were so frightened that they lost their weapons and knelt on the ground begging for mercy. I'll go, what kind of live broadcast room did I enter? With such a grand scene, it's like chopping melons and vegetables. Watching it makes my blood boil. Yeah, it's just 200 pigs. No matter where you put them, you'll have to chop them for half a day. Big scene. New here, right? Where is this? This is the Three Kingdoms, and the scenes of tens of thousands of people fighting in the future must all be like this. That's explosive. Shooting TV dramas. This is a masterpiece of conscience. It's much better than those divine dramas. I've been following it. The anchor made 2 moves, both of which were overwhelming. It's so cool. Don't think the anchor is very powerful. The main reason is that the opponent is too weak, just a group of mountain bandits. The combat power is terrible, and anyone with a name or surname can defeat the anchor. It seems like you can do it, why don't you give it a try? What's so noisy about this? Can the anchor handle it? Just keep watching and you'll know. Yes, don't leave, keep watching. Just as Zang Ba was killing and killing, the live broadcast room became lively, and the number of people entering the room was increasing. However, at this time, Zang Ba had no intention of watching the live broadcast room. Ding! Congratulations on reaching 100 people in the live broadcast room, reward 100 elite soldiers. Zang Ba approached the mountain bandit kneeling on the ground and looked around. There were no more mountain bandits with negative friendliness. Please spare your life, king. We are all homeless and kind-hearted people. Good people. Can one still be considered a good citizen even if they have all gone up the mountain? Zang Ba didn't correct them either. It's really hard to say which people are good and which ones are bad these days. Are you just these people? Zang Ba asked. King, most people are here now, and there are still some elderly, weak, sick, and disabled people in the Shanzhai. Zang Ba's eyes lit up when he heard the word Shanzhai, and he said to the bandits, "Get up all of you, take me to your Shanzhai." A group of mountain bandits timidly led the way, with Zang Ba leading the team and following behind. A group of people meandered up towards the mountain camp. Zang Ba is not afraid of any accidents, and his friendliness is showing up there. It's not negative, and he basically doesn't have any bad intentions towards him. Even if there are still a few dishonest people in the Shanzhai, as long as you are careful, you can completely handle it. Not long after walking, turning around a mountain, my eyes suddenly became clear. Zang Ba saw a sizable mountain fortress standing in a nearby valley, with houses scattered and disorderly. The waves of cooking smoke floating above the house set off the dark green mountains in the distance, making the entire village like a fairyland, making people feel relaxed and happy to see. This kind of Shanzhai is obviously not something that these bandits can create. Wow, what kind of fairyland is this on Earth? It's so beautiful. Although this place is dilapidated, based on my years of experience, it is definitely a treasure trove of feng shui. Yeah, this is much stronger than those scenic spots with a few A's and a few A's, the original ecology. Living here for a period of time can give you several more years to live. Anchor, where is this? I need to check in. Check it out, I need all the information about this scenic spot within 10 minutes. Can someone upstairs die without pretending? If you can find out, I'll eat upside down. Family members, old irons, I will live in this mountain stronghold for a long time, and I will take you to enjoy this fairyland in the future. Zang Ba took a moment to scan the live broadcast room, left a sentence, and then led his team into the knockoff. You guys, go gather all the people in the mountain village here, Zang Ba said, pointing to several elderly bandits. Not long after, the people who stayed in the village gathered one after another on the open space in the village, all of whom were indeed elderly or injured. Zang Ba began his first lecture in the mountain village. Your leader has been killed by me, and from today on, I will be in charge of this fortress. If you don't want to stay in the Shanzhai, you can leave now and I can send you some rations. If you're willing to stay, I won't treat you unfairly, but let's talk about the ugly things first. Don't have any bad intentions, otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Upon hearing that the leader of the bandits had been killed, most of the people in the village had a sad and unhappy expression, as if they had no emotional attachment to the leader of the bandits. It can even be said that he is a bit numb. This precisely confirms Zang Ba's conjecture that this Shanzhai was snatched from someone else by that group of bandits. Most people in the Shanzhai do not have much loyalty to the bandit leader. Some of them are indigenous people from the Shanzhai, while others have fled from other places. They followed out to rob families and houses, just to make a living. As for whether the leader has died or not, has the manager of the Shanzhai been replaced, and who has been replaced? For them, it may not be as important as filling their stomachs. However, in this way, it can also be considered a good thing for Zang Ba. These people have fewer thorns, making management much more convenient. Zang Ba believes that with the powerful functions of the live broadcast room, he can quickly control this counterfeit. After listening to Zang Ba's words, the people in the Shanzhai just stood there in a daze, and no one asked to leave. Yes, nowadays, there are disasters and famines everywhere, and in some places, there are even more man-made disasters than natural disasters. Where can they go? After finally finding a place to live, they wouldn't be willing to leave easily. And they could hear a hint of uniqueness from Zang Ba's words. This new leader doesn't seem to treat them very harshly. That's enough. Zang Ba nodded slightly when no one suggested leaving, and calmly said. Since you are all willing to stay, forget about your past identity as a bandit. From today on, you will be the villagers of this village. Alright, that's all for now. Let's just let it go and do whatever we need. After Zang Ba finished speaking, the conversation changed and he pointed to an elderly man, saying, You, stay. The man trembled with fear, his legs softened, and knelt in front of Zang Ba, saying, King, spare your life. I am a good person. Chapter 6. Meeting Ren Hongchang. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Damn it. Here's another set. Zang Ba is, after all, an outstanding young person who grew up under the red flag and received 9 years of compulsory education. Although I have traveled through time, I am a bit uncomfortable with the habit of kneeling down at any moment. And, which good person always says, I'm a good person? However, Zang Ba did not harshly criticize this man. Perhaps, in this era, this is their way to save their lives. Zang Ba picked up the man and said, I didn't say I wanted to kill you again. Why are you in such a hurry? Old man, I'm asking you, how long have you been living in this Shanzhai? The man's courage suddenly increased when he heard that he didn't want to kill him. Hurriedly replied, Your Majesty, I have been in this Shanzhai since I was born, and it has been 42 years now. 42 years. That is to say, this man is 42 years old. He looks like he's about to fall into the soil, thinking he's an old man. Zang Ba asked with a strange expression, Are you 42 years old this year? The man said, King, I'm really 42 years old, it's like a fake exchange. Now it's Zang Ba's turn to be embarrassed. Time is like a knife, and he's really a pig-killing knife. Forget it, don't dwell on this anymore. Next time you see someone, don't use their names randomly to avoid making a joke, Zang Ba thought to himself. Zang Ba put aside his embarrassment and said to the man. Can you take me to the mountain village for a stroll and talk about the things in the village? By the way, don't call me king in the future. I'm not a bandit, just call me the village leader. Yes, village leader. The man nodded and said, Our mountain village is called Panlong Village. It is said that when Pangu created heaven and earth. Stop, get to the point. Zang Ba saw the man put on a storyteller's demeanor and quickly spoke out to stop him. If he were to continue speaking, he would not be able to tell a mythological novel. Yes, village leader. Legend has it that there was a giant python practicing in our area for countless years. Finally, one day, it achieved enlightenment and became an immortal, transforming into a true dragon and soaring into the sky. When it left, it blew a sigh of immortality at a hunter who was hunting in the mountain, instructing the hunter to guard the place for him. The hunter, relying on his immortal aura, built a mountain fortress in this valley and named it Panlong Village. After countless years, this place has become what it is now. The man proudly talked about the origin of Panlong Village with a look of pride. Panlong Village, Zang Ba groped his chin and pondered, the name is so domineering. The hunter doesn't even think if future generations can suppress this dragon aura. Zang Ba has always been skeptical of such divine chatter. But crossing time and space, this mysterious thing has happened. What else is impossible? Let's believe it for now. As they walked and chatted, they arrived at a place enclosed by a fence. Inside the fence, there were several spacious houses, which were surrounded by the fence to form a separate small world. Village leader, this is the place where previous village leaders lived, and the former bandit leaders also lived here. If you come, you will also live here in the future, the man explained, pointing to a house. Zang Ba walked in and took a look, feeling quite satisfied. Although several houses were a bit rudimentary, they were much better than those dilapidated houses outside. Zang Ba returned to the open space and summoned the Zang family who were stationed there. Zang Jia and Zang Mu are also very satisfied with this place. They originally thought they would be camping in the barren mountains, but they didn't expect to find such a place. What else is there to be dissatisfied with? They immediately arranged for their servants to pack up and prepare to stay here. Ding! Congratulations on completing the task. Resist the attack of mountain bandits, seize the mountain fortress. Obtain 50 top-notch BMW, 500 taels of gold, and 1,000 pounds of wrought iron. This time in the live broadcast room, Zang Ba noticed it. Zang Ba looked at the space in the live broadcast room and did not see any gold or iron. As for BMW, there is even no trace of it, and I don't know if this system space can store live objects. Zang Ba flipped forward to the live broadcast prompt for rewarding elite soldiers and found that the rewarded elite soldiers were also nowhere to be found. Is there a problem with the live broadcast room? Zang Ba was puzzled by his thoughts. Village leader, I remember something. The man leading the way seemed to remember something and approached Zang Ba, saying, in our village, there is also a dungeon that was originally used to hold prisoners. Now there is still a beautiful woman who was recently abducted inside. Zang Ba raised his eyebrows and asked, beautiful woman. With the virtue of the bandit leader, didn't you give her to Hua? Are you still in the dungeon? Stronghold leader, that bandit leader once went to the battlefield and injured his life, so he can no longer sustain himself, the man replied somewhat unnaturally. Oh. Is there such a thing? Let's go, take me to the dungeon to see. Zang Ba said. Zang Ba followed the man's guidance and came to the cold and damp dungeon. I saw a woman dressed in tattered cloth, with her back to the prison door, curled up on the weeds in the dungeon. Ren Hongchang Force. 24 Intelligence. 80 Politics. 21 Charm. 100 Friendliness. 0 at first glance, an ordinary person. Upon closer inspection, it is rare to see women with names and surnames these days. Normally, it would display Zhang or Wang in the position of the name. The most crucial thing is that this woman's charm value is actually full. This immediately aroused Zang Ba's curiosity, as he searched through his memories and couldn't come up with a beautiful woman named Ren Hongchang from the Three Kingdoms. Zang Ba found a string of keys to the prison door on the stone wall of the dungeon and opened it. The sound of opening the door woke Ren Hongchang up from her slumber. She trembled as she turned around and sat up, curled up even tighter, looking in horror towards the direction of the prison door. She has been staying in this dungeon for several days, and there were originally a few people who were locked up with her here. But in the past few days, people have been constantly pulled out, and after the screams, I have never seen those people come back again. Ren Hongchang could fully imagine the fate of those people. Is it finally her turn this time? Ren Hongchang appears to be only 14 or 15 years old. Underneath her scattered hair was a delicate little face, covered in dirt that could not conceal her fair, jade-like skin. Her eyebrows and eyes sparkled with endless fear, but it made her appear even more petite, helpless, and charming. She is indeed a woman with a charm value of 100, Zang Ba was stunned at first glance. Who are you? Why are you here? Zang Ba asked subconsciously. When Ren Hongchang saw someone, he was not the ruthless mountain bandit leader who used to kill people at any moment. But rather a strong and handsome young man. Although I don't know who this young man is, but his voice is as gentle as jade. This actually calmed Ren Hongchang's mood a lot. She said in her still trembling voice. The little woman's name is Ren Hongchang. As the villagers fled, she arrived here and was abducted to the mountains. Just as Zang Ba was about to continue questioning, Wu Dun hurriedly broke into the dungeon and shouted to Zang Ba. Young master, it's not good anymore. A group of fully armored and armed soldiers have arrived outside the village, which may be detrimental to us. Chapter 7. You change your name to Jiao Chan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ba's heart sank. Although the disciples of the Zang family were skilled in warfare, they may not necessarily be opponents when faced with elite soldiers wearing full armor and weapons. As for those villagers, let's not mention them in this era. Productivity is backward and the ability to smelt iron is severely lacking. Having armor or not is one of the most important criteria for measuring the strength of an army. If you hide a few sets of bows, crossbows, and armor, you will be guilty of treason. It can be seen from this that armor is of great importance. You guys, come with me to take a look. Zang Ba said in a deep voice, stepping out of the dungeon first. Wu Dun and the man leading the way followed closely behind, and Ren Hongchang hesitated for a moment before following suit. At this moment, the live broadcast room exploded. Sleeping slot, who did I see? Ren Hongchang. Ah. 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 Forgive my ignorance, who is Ren Hongchang? What makes you so excited? If it weren't for the first 4 words, I would have cursed it out. Who knows Ren Hongchang? You should understand by changing the name, Jiao Chan. Oh, I'll go, this little sister is Jiao Chan. This. Didn't you see the anchor's pig-like appearance? My mouth is watering. The anchor is really embarrassing. If I were to be replaced, it would make my mouth water too. Sigh, my Jiao Chan is going to be ruined by the anchor. Let go of that little sister, let me come, you guys, virtue. Humph. This little sister's appearance has beaten many female celebrities, right? Check it out, I need all the information about this little sister within 10 minutes. Get lost, come back with this set. Did you find any information about the previous scenic spot? In this live broadcast room, men are handsome, women are beautiful, love. Zang Ba saw the information in the live broadcast room and his heart skipped a beat. Is this woman Jiao Chan? Zang Ba turned around and glanced at Ren Hongchang who was following behind. However, this is not the time to study Jiao Chan. We need to first resolve the crisis outside the village. The members of the Zang family have already gathered at the entrance of the mountain fortress, holding weapons and looking out cautiously. Zang Ba left the village without any hesitation, and he hid at the entrance of the village, observing from a distance. I saw a group of soldiers standing outside the village, full of vigor and determination, like a pine tree, without making noise or moving around, just standing quietly. Just looking at this momentum and willpower, these soldiers can definitely be called elite. If we start a fight, we'll rely on those people from the Zang family. Even if Zang Ba uses force to show off, we'll probably lose. Young master, there seem to be hundreds of people outside. If they attack, we won't be able to resist. What should we do? Wu Dun's eyes were sharp, and he could immediately see the overall strength of those soldiers. He said anxiously to Zang Ba. Don't panic, the other party's intentions are unclear. If they want to attack the fortress, they may have to take action long ago. Perhaps we can talk to them. Zang Ba pondered for a moment and said. No, you said there were hundreds of people. Zang Ba suddenly came to his senses and asked loudly. Ah. Yes. Wu Dun was inexplicably asked by Zang Ba, and everyone outside the village was standing there. Looking around, you can tell how many people there are, and the young master can tell that there are more than 100. Is there still an ambush? Zang Ba ignored Wu Dun's reaction and had a bold idea in his heart. Zang Ba opened the gate of the mountain fortress and walked out. Wu Dun and his disciples were not sure why, but they followed closely behind and walked out, protecting Zang Ba. The soldiers outside the fortress did not show any extreme behavior when they saw someone coming out of the fortress. They still stood there motionless. Sure enough, Zang Ba's heart was settled. Zang Ba walked up to the group of soldiers and shouted awkwardly. "I'm Zang Ba, are you here to find me?" The scene was silent. Suddenly, the soldiers outside the village knelt down on one knee with swift and neat movements, arched their hands and shouted in unison at Zang Ba, "Lord." The shout was deafening, piercing through the clouds and startling many birds in the mountains and forests. Even Wu Dun trembled with fear. The guests even stared at the ground. This group of fierce soldiers didn't come to attack the mountain fortress. And they actually call it young master. In this situation, those who can be called lords are all big shots. Are you really a big shot, young master? How come the disciples haven't noticed after staying at Zhang's house for so long? Doubts are doubts, but this does not affect a surge of pride spreading in their hearts, each with a red face. Zang Ba nodded. This is the elite soldier rewarded in the live broadcast room. This live broadcast room only has 100 people, so it rewards 100 elite soldiers. What if the number of people in the live broadcast room is tens of thousands, millions? Isn't that a powerful army that can sweep the world? Zang Ba's heart was filled with anticipation. But on the other hand, if we give Zang Ba tens of thousands of people now, he won't be able to afford it. What can I do if I don't have anything to eat? Now these 100 people, no more, no less, just right. Zang Ba glanced at the crowd and found that the soldiers generally had a force value of over 70, and other ability values were also around 50.60. Their friendliness was all 100. Sure enough, it's great. Well, I'm from Mount Taishan County. From today on, you are the Mount Taishan Army. Would you like to? Zang Ba said. Mount Taishan Army. Mount Taishan Army, the soldiers shouted in unison. Zang Ba was so arrogant that he shouted, the Mount Taishan Army is invincible and invincible. The Mount Taishan Army is invincible and invincible, the soldiers shouted loudly. Wu Dun and his disciples were greatly infected and shouted along. Zang Ba took the opportunity to incorporate the disciples into the Mount Taishan army. When Zang Ba was away, Wu Dun took command of the more than 100 Mount Taishan troops. Now Wu Dun has been overjoyed, from being a prisoner to becoming a commander of the army. There is nothing more joyful than this. Ren Hongchang, hiding behind the gate of the Shanzhai, saw what was happening before him, his pretty face turning red and his beautiful eyes flowing. When returning to the mountain stronghold, Zang Ba saw Ren Hongchang, who was hiding on the side with his head down. Zang Ba walked over and lifted Ren Hongchang's chin with one hand, staring straight into her eyes. He asked in a deep voice, "Stay in the mountain fortress. Are you willing?" Ren Hongchang has never been so close to a young man before. "Where did you bear it?" Her cheeks became even redder, as if they were about to burn. Ren Hongchang thought of himself as lonely and homeless. There are still people taking in this Shanzhai, and this lord doesn't look annoying either. Outside, I'm afraid it's just a death, or even worse than death. Without hesitation, she knelt down and said, "I am willing to serve as a servant and serve my lord." Ren Hongchang, with a friendly rating of 100. Ha! 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 Zang Ba received the reward and left Ren Hongchang behind. Feeling happy and laughing heartily, Zang Ba gently patted Ren Hongchang's flushed pretty face. Slightly thin yet domineering, he dropped a sentence. "Starting from today, you'll change your name to Diao Chan." Turning around, he led the soldiers into the mountain fortress. As Zang Ba left, Ren Hongchang seemed to have been drained of all his strength and collapsed on the ground. Jiao Chan. The golden cicada is left. Jiao Chan gold is hard and solid, while cicadas are noble and pure. That's really a good name. Chapter 8. Planting Sweet Potatoes. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. This year is the 5th year of Guanghe, in the year 182 AD. Emperor Ling of Han, Lu Hong, implemented party imprisonment in eunuch politics. Also set up the Western Garden, cleverly creating a name to plunder money. Even selling officials and titles for personal enjoyment. 10 constant attendants brought chaos to the court and the public, coupled with frequent natural disasters. The people were struggling to make ends meet, and the land was filled with sorrows. Zang Ba knew that the famous Yellow Turban uprising would soon erupt. A great chaos is approaching, and we must seize the time to accumulate enough strength to survive in a chaotic world. Now Zang Ba has a mountain fortress, several hundred people, and a small army that cannot be underestimated. This situation is also quite good. But it's still not enough. Looking at the skinny and zombie-like villagers, Zang Ba's head grew bigger. How to ensure that his subordinates have enough to eat is currently the biggest problem facing Zang Ba. It seems that the live broadcast room rewarded some sweet potatoes. You can grow sweet potatoes, which are high-yield and easy-to-survive crops that are most suitable for the current situation in Shanzhai. Zang Ba dug out 10 bags of sweet potatoes in the live broadcast room space. Seeing Zang Ba conjuring up a bunch of unnamed things that looked like stones, Wu Dun's eyes stared like copper bells. However, the young master in his own family has great abilities, and it is not surprising that he can transform something. Just not knowing what this strange thing is, Wu Dun curiously asked. Young master, what is this? Zang Ba remembered that during the Han Dynasty, there was no such thing as sweet potatoes. So Zang Ba explained to Wu Dun. I stumbled upon this thing by chance. I call it sweet potato. It's delicious, large in quantity, and full. Wu Dunki doesn't care where these dirt-covered things come from, the 4 words, quantity is sufficient to attract him. But I have never seen this thing before, Wu Dun asked with uncertainty. Is this really edible? By the way, sweet potatoes can be eaten and are very delicious. Zang Ba knows about it, but the people here don't know. To promote the cultivation of sweet potatoes, one must first make people accept it. Zang Ba picked up a bag of sweet potatoes and said to Wu Dun. Let's take you to try some fresh food. Zang Ba found an open space in the mountain village and had someone dig several pits to bury the sweet potatoes. Then several bonfires were lit in the area where sweet potatoes were buried. Seeing the new village leader, they were digging pits and lighting fires in broad daylight. The idle people in the mountain village gathered around curiously. Jiao Chan timidly followed Zang Ba. While the bonfire was burning, Zang Ba sent someone to invite all the respected people in the mountain village. Even Zhang Jie and Zhang Mu were invited out. Father, mother, all of you present here, I invite you to taste a new food that I call sweet potatoes. Zang Ba saw everyone present and slowly introduced sweet potatoes. Not long after, the campfire burned out, and Zang Ba had someone pull out the roasted sweet potatoes. Zang Ba cut the sweet potato into small pieces with a knife, ensuring that everyone present could eat a piece. Smell the aroma of roasted sweet potatoes that I have never heard before. Everyone on site started to moan uncontrollably. These days, there are not many people who can eat enough. When the sweet potato chunks were handed to them, they all rushed to eat them. Oh my, this sweet potato is so delicious. Zhang's mother's hands trembled with excitement. She had never eaten such delicious food in her life. Others are also eating and discussing in groups of 3 or 2. Zang Ba asked the respected villagers, would everyone be willing to plant this kind of thing? Yes, that's too much, the villagers said in unison. If sweet potatoes are really as good as those introduced by Zang Ba, who wouldn't want to plant them? It's done. The food in the future is available, at least not enough to go hungry. Zang Ba only knows how to eat sweet potatoes, but he doesn't know how to grow them. What should we do? Zang Ba rolled his eyes and asked in the live broadcast room. Family members, old irons, how do you grow sweet potatoes? The anchor is about to start farming. Before the troops move, food and forage should be provided first, with a variety of grains and no problems. Anchor, my family grows sweet potatoes, covering hundreds of acres. Let me tell you, sweet potatoes need to be grown this way. I am a researcher at the Academy of Agricultural Sciences. It is more scientific to grow sweet potatoes in this way, sleeping trough, talent. Indeed, the comments section is the place where talent gathers. Anchor, is that Diao Chan next to you? Damn it, this mink cicada's face is covered in dirt and has already startled people's chins. If it were washed white, wouldn't it be so beautiful to bubble? Is this makeup or is it a beauty enhancement? Based on my years of experience in live streaming, this little sister is definitely pure and natural. Anchor, I have a friend who really likes your live broadcast. I would like to know where you are filming and would like to offer some condolences. If you want to see a beautiful woman, just say it directly. I don't have any friends yet, and I look down on you. JPG, Zang Ba watched as the slanted building reached the sky in the live broadcast room and silently withdrew. Makeup. Wearing makeup may tarnish this natural beauty. Zang Ba gave Diao Chan a meaningful glance and said, you go back and wash your face first. Diao Chan blushed and ran away like a frightened rabbit. Once the planting method for sweet potatoes was in hand, Zang Ba immediately began arranging it. The people in the Shanzhai are all from rural backgrounds, and only then did they fall into the trap of bandits. Now let them start their old profession, naturally they are competing to be the first. Zang Ba selected some planting experts and divided the sweet potatoes. It was agreed that the sweet potatoes harvested would be uniformly distributed by Zang Ba. The villagers readily agreed, and this was what the village had originally done. Now they can get some high yield and delicious crops, which has greatly exceeded their expectations. Zang Ba only has 9 bags of sweet potatoes left, so we can only arrange it this way for now. After the harvest, every household in the village can plant sweet potatoes. Young master, I have searched with people and found that there is not much food left in the village. The sweet potatoes you brought are good, but you may not have enough time until they mature. Wu Dun whispered a reminder in Zang Ba's ear. Yes, although the Zang family is not a wealthy family, they are also wealthy, otherwise they wouldn't be able to support so many disciples. The Zang family fled from Mount Taishan County in a hurry and brought enough food for the whole family to eat for a while. But this little grain is not enough to be seen in these hundreds of people's mountain villages. The previous bandits didn't save any food, otherwise they wouldn't have rushed to rob the Zang family. The problem of eating is still unresolved. Send someone to hunt in the mountains, and find some people familiar with the surrounding environment to see if they can buy some food from other villages. Zang Ba pondered for a moment and said. The bandits' path must be impassable. Zang Ba knew that even the most powerful, yellow turban thief was wiped out shortly after the uprising. In the end, it was the wedding dress for the rise of local warlord forces. Being a thief, from a moral standpoint, is untenable. Didn't the Xuanda Duke appear and shout loudly that he was a royal relative? Although Zang Ba and his companions do not have the status of royal relatives, they cannot be thieves either. While contemplating, Zhang Jia walked over with a solemn expression and said. Xiangao, come and take a look, we're afraid we might cause trouble. Was Chapter 9 recruited? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Luoyang City, Imperial Palace. A young man dressed as a eunuch hurriedly walked into a palace. Kneeling in front of a middle-aged man with a white face, thinking about something. Sir. The young eunuch shouted softly. The middle-aged man regained his senses, turned his wine glass in his hand, and asked in a duckling voice. How's the investigation of Mount Taishan County going? The little eunuch bowed his head and replied, the prefect of Mount Taishan County was killed by a man named Zang Ba. He took 12 people and robbed the prisoners, killed the prefect, robbed the things, and ran away. The middle-aged man glared angrily and said, a group of trash, hundreds of people can't beat more than 12, and they were even robbed. Where are they now? Some people saw them go to Donghai County, but they haven't found out where they went. My lord, now all the people in Mount Taishan County are talking about Zang Ba's loyalty, filial piety, and bravery. The little eunuch hesitated for a moment and whispered. Bang! With a loud bang, the middle-aged man smashed his glass directly in front of the young eunuch, causing him to tremble like a sieve. The little eunuch secretly regretted, what's the point of saying so much? What a loyal, filial, and brave person. He was easily robbed and even achieved his reputation. If this were to be spread, where would Zhao's face be affected? Now that the deadline is approaching and the things are gone, how can I explain to the emperor that I want people to see my joke? Can't someone like Zhao compare to them? The middle-aged man vented his anger to himself. Are there any of our people in Donghai County? The middle-aged man vented for a while and asked the eunuch. Yes, there is a colonel, replied the eunuch. Colonel. It's enough to deal with more than 12 people. Let him investigate and find those surnamed Zang. Kill them and bring back the things. The middle-aged man said with a gloomy expression. Tell the captain that if this matter is done well, there will naturally be his benefits, but if it is messed up, Yes, sir. The eunuch slowly withdrew from the palace. Donghai County, Panlong Village. In Zhang Jie's room, boxes after boxes of gold and silver treasures were dazzling Zang Ba's titanium alloy dog eyes. Ah, Ba, it's a wise eye. Zang Ba can be certain that this is definitely not something of the Zang family. Xiangao, these gold and silver are estimated to be 100,000 taels. I don't know how precious these treasures are, but I think they are not bad. Look, there's another letter here. Zhang Jie took out a letter and handed it to Zang Ba. The letter was written by the prefecture magistrate of Mount Taishan County to Zhao Zhong, the minister of Hongchang. It was very long. The general idea is that the matter entrusted by Zhao Zhong has already been completed by the prefect, with 100,000 taels of gold and silver, plus a treasure worth around 100,000 taels. Leave it all to Zhao Zhong for handling, whether he keeps it for himself or presents it to the emperor. I only hope that Zhao Zhong can offer some kind words in front of the emperor, so that the position of the prefect can be further elevated. This is really a case of buying and selling official red fruits. I don't know how long this has been looted by the governor. As the saying goes, if the governor of the Qing dynasty had a virtue of 100,000 snowflakes silver for 3 years, it would probably take him less than a year to achieve it. Father, no wonder the prefect has taken you and Wu Dun as guards, requiring over 100 people to protect them. It turns out they are guarding this batch of gold and silver treasures. This is really a bargain for us. Zang Ba chuckled happily. After killing the prefect, he snatched the prefect's carriage and ran for his life. He never expected to grab so many things. Xiangao, don't be too happy too early. This is something that the Zhongchang attendant wants to offer to the emperor. We are about to face a big disaster. Zhang Jie said anxiously. Although he only served as a county official, he was a clear and loyal official in the late Eastern Han Dynasty, which was definitely not something that the Zhang family could afford. As for His Majesty the Emperor, he is just a legendary figure. However, for Zang Ba, the 10 constant attendants and Emperor Ling of Han were just a few lines of text in textbooks. Moreover, this is only Zhao Zhong, who is not very famous among the 10 constant attendants. In a few more years, all those people will have to go crazy. As long as we survive these 2 years, when the Yellow Turban Uprising in the world is in chaos, those people will have no time to control the Zhang family. At that time, the sky will be high and birds will fly, while the sea will be wide and fish will leap. I'm even afraid of him being a der. Father can rest assured that those 10 constant attendants will soon be defeated, Zang Ba comforted. 10 constant attendants, with increasingly heavy power, like the sun in the sky, how could they be defeated? Zhang Jia asked hesitantly. Father, the gold and silver have been robbed by us. Zhao Zhong won't let us go no matter what. Instead of worrying about it, we'd better get ready. Then troops for the enemy, earth for floods. Zang Ba changed his perspective and advised. That's right. Xiangao, in January, the emperor issued an edict ordering the officials to report the governors and county governors who were corrupt and cruel to the people. Can we also take this path? Zhang Jie put aside his worries and proposed an idea. Can you give it a try? With so many gold and silver treasures in our hands, and with that letter, take it out and pave a way. Even if we can't overthrow Zhao Zhong, it can still help us get rid of the charges. It would be best if we could switch to a different official position. It's just that who needs to give the report, and if it's entrusted to someone else, it's even worse. Father, let me send someone to inquire about it before making any plans. Zang Ba pondered the feasibility of this idea as he spoke. I smiled smugly, then smugly. Unable to come up with a reason, Zang Ba decided not to think about it and hummed an old tune as he walked towards his house. Open the door and enter the house in one go. Oh, why is there the sound of flowing water in the inner room? Through the half-closed door, Zang Ba saw a figure as pure as a lotus in water. Boom! It seems that something is exploding in Zang Ba's mind. Zang Ba's mind was blank, staring straight at the figure, especially the bright red in front of him. Zang Ba, who has been hanging silk for a lifetime, is not right, he is Zang Ba who has been hanging silk for a lifetime plus 18 years. Where have you seen the scene in front of you? Immediately after, a stream of heat gushed out from Zang Ba's nostrils. Oh my, I'm going. I have nosebleeds. Zang Ba was frantically pressing his nose. I can't even stop it. I'm afraid I'll laugh to death if I have nosebleeds and it's so bloody. Is that the Lord outside? Jiao Chan's delicate voice came from the inner room, but there was no fear at all. The sound of flowing water, the half-closed door, the delicate sound. Zang Ba realized that this was a game, and he was the goal of this game. She is truly a woman with an intelligence value of up to 80, so be careful not to play around. Damn it, if you're hit, just be hit. Looking at the friendly figure of 100, Zang Ba resolutely pushed open the door. I'll go, who can turn off the lights in the live broadcast room? I seem to see a figure, is it taking a shower? Before I could react, the camera flashed by and I didn't see anything. I'll just pinch my fingers and calculate, something big will happen. My Jiao Chan, whimpering. The rivers and mountains are charming and the people are passionate. Since ancient times, beautiful women have been paired with heroes, and that's how it should be. Too much, where is morality? Where is human nature? Where is the website? I have a friend who wants to ask, where else can I see the sequel? Get Lost. The flower path has never been swept by a guest, and now the pingmen is open for you. Outside, the bright moon hangs high, and the evening breeze gently brushes over the treetops. The wind and the moon share joy together. Chapter 10. Special rewards for live streaming rooms. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a storm, Zang Ba lay leisurely in bed. Zang Ba looked at a bright red color on the bed. Gently caressing the soft body and smooth back lying on him. Wen Xing said, don't you regret it? Jiao Chan let out a whimper, still speaking in her delicate voice. My lord, I was originally a lowly servant. Thanks to my lord's help, I am deeply grateful. It is my blessing to make a promise with my own life. How dare I say I regret it? I only hope that my lord can take good care of me. Look at this little mouth, babbling, living well, speaking well. Zang Ba's heart was racing for a moment. Ding. Received a reward, congratulations on increasing the anchor's lifespan by 1 day. What? Increased lifespan. Is it so easy for him to achieve the ultimate goal of all humanity? Zang Ba was shocked beyond measure. Did he end up increasing his lifespan by playing around like this? Is it also true that the legendary emperors, who have 3 palaces, 6 courtyards, and 3,000 beauties, know the secret to increasing their lifespan? But those debauched emperors don't live long, do they? No, the live broadcast room didn't explain why it increased lifespan. Maybe not. No, try again. In order to explore the mystery of immortality and achieve the greatest goal of all humanity, Zang Ba also went all out. He flipped over and pressed the soft object next to him back down. Ah! Lord! Jiao Chan didn't expect Zang Ba's combat power to be so strong, and she gasped for breath. The room is once again a picturesque scene. Ding! Congratulations to the anchor for increasing their lifespan by 1 day. Sure enough, the opening method was correct, and Zang Ba found the password for longevity. As long as the partner is willing, their lifespan will increase after completing the task. As for whether there are any other restrictions, such as the age, identity, charm value, etc. of the friends, will the results be different? I don't know for sure, that will be known later. Several times of wind and rain, several times of spring and autumn, wind, frost, snow, rain, and torrential currents, enduring hardships with unwavering dedication. Ding! Congratulations to the anchor for increasing their lifespan by 1 day. The maximum value added today has been reached. After a few degrees of blooming, Zang Ba's legs became weak and he collapsed to one side. But Jiao Chan seemed to be still unsatisfied, teasing Shao Zang Ba. Is there an upper limit to the added value of lifespan? There are only 5 opportunities in a day. That's good, otherwise we'll just focus on increasing our lifespan. I'm afraid we won't be able to use the increased lifespan yet, so we'll have to crack it on the spot. So, since ancient times, the beauty of a ruler has been a disaster, and many emperors have been defeated by it. Jiang Shan is like a Jiao Chan, holding her neck and waist, swaying and disappearing one by one. Zang Ba nodded silently. Young people, we still need to have restraint. The lights haven't turned on yet. How long has it been? The anchor is really good at playing, beasts it's better to come than to be a beast, have you forgotten that this is filming? The anchor has been live streaming for so long, and finding an excuse to take a break from the broadcast can satisfy everyone's appetite. It's really a win-win situation, clever, clever. There are many words upstairs, I believe you I'm not buying it, hey, wait, there's something moving. Is the live broadcast room shaking? It's black, how can you tell that the live broadcast room is shaking? Really, listen, there's still a sound. Damn it. Is the live broadcast room shaking? It can't be an earthquake at the anchor's place, can it? Years of experience have taught me that this sound is made by ungulates when they run, hoofed animals. They're dying, anchor. Get up quickly, monsters are attacking. Fart. This is the sound of hooves. Ah. Is that a cavalry siege? Zang Ba tossed and turned all night, only to fall asleep when the sky was dim. Before sleeping for a few hours, I was awakened by the sound of horse hooves. Zang Ba comforted Jiao Chan, who was also awakened, put on his clothes, and hurriedly walked out. Zang Ba arrived at the entrance of the mountain fortress with 3 points of concern and 7 points of anticipation. What worries me is that there will really be cavalry attacking the knockoff, and what I look forward to is that the horses rewarded in the live broadcast room have arrived. As expected, there were 2 businessmen standing at the entrance of the Shanzhai, one fat and one thin. They led a group of servants and drove a group of horses to the outside of the mountain fortress. Zang Ba was overjoyed in his heart and quickly opened the door of the mountain fortress to welcome him out. The two of you have come from afar, and are warmly welcomed from all over Panlong village. I wonder if you are coming to Panlong village. Zang Ba said politely. I am Su Shuang, he is Zhang Shiping, and we are merchants from Zhongshan County. This time we are looking for the leader of Wang village, said the chubby one of the two. Su Shuang, Zhang Shiping. These two names are a bit familiar. Zang Ba didn't immediately react. However, this does not affect his communication with the two of them. Zang Ba welcomed the two into the mountain fortress while saying to them. The leader of the Wang stronghold has passed away. Now this stronghold is under my leadership, with my surname Zhang Mingba. Then Zang Ba recounted the story of the village being occupied by bandits and being taken back by him. Zang Ba also specially invited several old people from the knockoff village to confirm this matter. Su Shuang, Zhang Shiping saw several familiar old people and believed what they said. In the past 2 years, the two of us went out to sell horses and encountered bandits. We were seriously injured and passed by the Shanzhai. We were saved by someone. This time, we came specifically to thank you. Unexpectedly, 2 years have passed and things have changed. Since Lord Wang is no longer here, we will give the things to Lord Zhang, and the same goes for us. After Su Shuang finished speaking, he waved his hand and his servant lifted up a few boxes. Here are 500 taels of gold and 1,000 pounds of wrought iron. There are also 50 top-notch BMWs outside. If you don't show respect, please accept them with a smile, Zhang village leader. Su Shuang and Zhang Shiping arched their hands towards Zang Ba. Our Shanzhai happens to be short of horses, so thank you both for your generous help. Oh, I have received the reward in the live broadcast room. Zang Ba stopped being polite to them and directly accepted the things. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration flashed in Zang Ba's mind. How come the amount of this reward is the same as the one sponsored by Zhongshan merchants when Duke Xuanda started? Isn't Su Shuang and Zhang Shiping those two giants? Did this one cut off Duke Xuanda's beard? That's a giant business. With so many merchants traveling south and north, there aren't many who can be called giants. This live broadcast room offers more than just a few horses and some silver. It's like sending a business route, a supply line. Thinking of this, Zang Ba forgot about the horses and said with a smile on his face and a more enthusiastic tone. The one who saved the two is the leader of Wang village. Zang dare not take credit. Su Shuang waved his hand and said, Zang village leader, killing the bandits is considered revenge for Wang village leader. This is also a kind of fate. Zang village leader, don't be too humble. The two of you came from a long distance, and Zang should have expressed something, but this mountain fortress has just been recaptured, it's really. Zang Ba mentioned the shortage of food and supplies in the mountain stronghold, revealing his intention to ask for help from the two people. How difficult is it? Although we make a living by selling horses, we have traveled far and wide, met many people, and it is still easy for us to help you buy some food and supplies. Su Shuang and Zhang Shiping said one after another. Since both of them have said so, Zang Ba can rest assured that the grain has been secured. However, in business, Zang Ba cannot take advantage of them, and they must also let the two earn some money, otherwise there will be no next time. Both parties agreed on the types and quantities of materials needed, and Zang Ba also made a prepayment of some funds to finalize the purchase of grain materials. Su Shuang and Zhang Shiping didn't expect to come to this Panlong village and still secure a big deal, which was also a great surprise. After discussing the purchase and sale, both sides started chatting again, and Su Shuang said. Zang, there is one more thing about this Panlong village. Do you understand it?